Hey everyone, it is Dani and welcome to this update video this morning. I hope you guys are doing really wonderful, and so we will be taking a look at what is happening across the Atlantic basin. So there is that disturbance that's making its way toward the west and could develop as we're going to be heading into next week. And we also have some activity across parts of the Caribbean and that trough that is bringing lots of rainfall to parts of Florida and the Bahamas and even Cuba as well. And so we'll be taking a look at all that is happening and what is expected. And before I go into details, please do subscribe if you haven't yet done so and tap the bell so that you never miss an important update. Alright, so let us go ahead and kickstart things looking into the vicinity of the Bahamas, Florida, and here we can see all these disorganized shower and thunderstorm activity. Now that is in association with that trough, so it's likely that throughout today there is going to be a lot more rainfall for some spots. Going to the southeastern Bahamas, though we're not seeing as much. Similar story with the Turks and Caicos Islands. And then as we take a look at Cuba, going to Jamaica, there is some activity nearby. And by the way, for Jamaica, again, some rainfall activity is more probable across some areas as we're going to be heading through today. And as we go on to this surface chart here, by the way, this isn't updated. The 6Z update is not yet in as of when I'm recording this. So the axes of these tropical waves are actually a bit more to the west. So that tropical wave right there in the central Caribbean, it is going to be making its way by, and thus that increased chance of rainfall for Jamaica. There's that other one out there that's going to be approaching the Lesser Antilles as we progress into the end of this week. And then there's that other one. That is the one marked as a disturbance. And by the way, if we look up into the vicinity of Florida, the Bahamas, Cuba, there we can see that surface trough. That is what is bringing all the rainfall there. But let's go back to the map here. Going on to Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, we can also see that there is a bit of activity, nothing too crazy going on. Things are in the clear for most of the Lesser Antilles. There might be some brief showers at times or overcast weather. Nothing much going on, though. Similar story for Trinidad and Tobago, going to the ABC Islands. Looking into parts of Central America, especially going down into the southeastern part of Nicaragua, off the coast of Costa Rica and Panama as well, there is a lot of activity. And looking into northern South America, we definitely see that there is some thunderstorms across some spots in northern Colombia, going to Venezuela and over into Suriname and Guyana. And so guys, now we want to go ahead and talk about the rainfall totals expected through today. Alright, so we're starting out with the GFS. So as the map becomes more colorful, a lot more rainfall activity is expected. And there we can see that quite a bit of rainfall, some substantial rainfall across Florida, going to the northwestern Bahamas, Cuba, even the Grand Cayman and parts of Jamaica as well might receive some of that substantial rainfall activity through today. And then as we head down into parts of Central America, going to northern South America, we also see that there might be some pretty good downpour across some spots. And guys, again, I reiterate this in each update because it is always important to do so, where if there is a lot of heavy rainfall, that is going to be increasing the risk of flooding in those flood prone areas. So please take the necessary precautions when required. Going on to Euro actually showing more rainfall activity for Jamaica than the GFS, and that substantial rainfall expected across parts of Florida, the Bahamas, some spots in Cuba as well, and then over into Central America, going to northern South America. For most other areas, it should either be a pretty sunny day or maybe there will be some isolated shower and thunderstorm activity. And so that is what is expected in terms of that. And now we want to go ahead and move on to that disturbance, not designated as an invest, and it is continuing westward. And so we're seeing here that it is now highlighted in orange, which indicates that there is a medium chance of development. So 40% chance of seeing something develop within this area over the next couple of days. And imminent development is unlikely due to the plethora of dry air within its vicinity. So that should suppress any development for some time, but things should get a bit more conducive as it heads toward the west northwest. And so let's go ahead and look at what the GFS, Euro, and Icon models have to show. So we're starting out with GFS, and these colors represent the precipitation rate. Meanwhile, those black lines that are kind of all over the place, they represent isobars, which join areas of equal pressure. Now, when we see those isobars being in a closed circular manner, and there are a lot more of them, and that number that we see also decreasing in value, that is indicating a strengthening system. There we have the time there. So as we're going to be heading into this weekend, we're seeing that GFS not expecting much organization from the system. However, we're going into next week, next Tuesday, and there we can see that this has missed the Caribbean. So GFS is expecting that, hey, it will not be a problem for the Caribbean. So maybe a tropical storm by that time. And then eventually, as we head to the latter of next week, going to late Thursday, there we have the system strengthening, but heading more to the north, not bringing any direct impacts in terms of that heavy rainfall, those strong winds to any land area. So that is what GFS is showing. Going on to Euro now, as we head into tomorrow, Euro is expecting that there's not going to be a whole lot happening. As we head into Sunday, though, there we have the system, likely northwestward track, and then eventually not showing much becoming of it. And then heading on to the Icon model. Icon is showing a little bit of a closer approach to the Caribbean here as we head to Sunday, not showing much in terms of the system organizing, and showing something quite weak to the north of the eastern islands of the Caribbean as you're going to be heading into Tuesday. So overall, GFS is really the only model out of these three which is expecting that, hey, we're going to be seeing some development. This is going to become a tropical storm. So Icon is showing that, hey, we could definitely see this try to get itself together, maybe a depression or a weak tropical cyclone, but there's not going to be any quick development because of all the dry air. And as we move on to the dry air map, here we can see that there is a lot of it across the main development region, and that is going to be the struggle with this disturbance. But let us see if it's going to pull through. Let's see if it will take advantage of conditions whenever they become conducive. In terms of the wind shear map, here we have it, and there we have the different land areas being outlined in that white. But in terms of these colors here, the red represents unfavorable wind shear. That is where the upper level winds are quite strong, and that prevents tropical cyclone development by really just cutting off those thunderstorms and preventing intensification. Going to the yellow, that is where we have neutral shear, and then the green areas are favorable. So that is where we typically see that there's development, provided that other conditions are also conducive. So across the Caribbean right now and going to some parts of the Atlantic, we see that area of those reds indicating that the wind shear is quite strong. So things might get a bit more conducive, as I said, for the system as we're going to be heading into the next several days. So once it starts getting itself together and conditions ahead definitely look conducive, then the chance will continue to gradually increase as time goes by. And so let's see what's going to be happening with it, but I'm here to keep you guys posted as per usual. And so that is it for this update, and I hope you found it to be quite informative. But if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments. I will respond as best and as soon as I can. And as always, remember to be weatherwise.